So if I am so focused on staying on the line, I can't fulfill my assignment. But my God is big enough to handle my fault, my screw ups, my mess ups, because he's already prepared for what I might do. He knows what I'm going to do before I do it, and he already made preparation for me before I get there. What follows darkness is light. That darkness is the indicator that light is getting ready to shine. So there it is in Genesis, when darkness was upon the face of the deep, and God in the spirit form moved upon the face of the water, and then God said, let there be. Because darkness precedes the light. Are you understanding what I'm saying? But he needs the darkness there so that God can move upon the face of the deep, so that the shift can take place. Listen, look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor that shift take place in the darkness. Oh God, y'all didn't hear what I just said. Everybody's not going to see the shift that's happening. They see the chaos, but they don't see the shift. They see all the craziness going on in your life, but they don't understand that underneath the darkness, God is moving in secret. He's moving in quiet. He's moving in the hidden places. He's moving in the cracks and the corners and the crevices. He's moving in places that you cannot see. And when the light comes, they're going to see a new order. Afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
Thank you for joining us. Please take a moment and like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube page and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. If you are finding value in these enrichment sessions, please consider supporting this page financially. Your donations allow us to continue to provide spiritual enlightenment, self-exploration, and kingdom knowledge. Also consider becoming a partner because partnerships have this privilege. As a partner, you'll be able to attend our annual Partners Only Summer Summit. Join us for our 6 a.m. virtual daily guided meditation sessions, weekly advanced empowerment sessions, regular prophetic insights and instructions, 30% discount on all Emerge books and merchandise, and a custom Emerge t-shirt. You'll also gain full access to the private Emerge Movement community page as well as group chats. Once again, thank you for watching.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Emerge Empowerment Session. I'm your host, Isaac J. Miles Sr., and I am overwhelmingly excited that you've decided to join me this morning for this impactful conversation that I know will positively impact your life. Thank you for watching me here, those of you watching via Facebook, as well as those of you who may be watching via our YouTube live channel. I want to welcome all of my TikTok family to this viewership this morning as well. I appreciate all of your support on that new social media medium and for your coming over, making the journey to come join us here for a live empowerment session. I want to remind you that we'll be having a live empowerment session every Thursday evening on TikTok Live at 7 p.m. So make sure, family, that those of you who are our followers there, you join us in that space for an empowering conversation that's sure to bring enlightenment and accelerate the growth of your life. Listen, those of you who are watching us via Facebook, I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things for me right now. If you would please make sure that you like this live. Like. Give as many likes as you like to give. Like or love or, express laughter. Use all of the emojis that they have there that you can express, but make sure you like it. Number 2, share it, please. Share it on your personal page. Share it in all of the groups that you're a part of here on Facebook as well. Share it with your friends and family. You can send it out in Messenger and invite them to come and be a part of this conversation. And then finally, tag. In the comments, you can tag as many people as you choose to, or if you want to just get the attention of everybody on your friends list, then use the ampersand and then put behind it highlight our followers, and it'll notify everybody on your friends list that this is the place to be. Do that for me right now, if you will. Those of you who are watching us via YouTube Live, I need you to do likewise. I need you to like this particular live and also subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you'll always be alerted when we are getting ready to come on the air or when we post various clips that are designed to encourage and empower you throughout the day. And then finally, share it. Hit the share button and you can share it to Facebook, to Twitter, to Instagram, or you can copy the link and send it out in your group chats and to all your family members and invite them to come and be a part of this live conversation as we are having it right now. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate your presence here today, and I'm excited to be able to share with you the topic that we've chosen for this morning. So this morning, we're going to talk about on this Soulful Sunday. It is Soulful Sunday, everybody. We're going to talk about nurturing the soul. Nurturing the soul. I mentioned in this morning's clip, as I put it out this morning, that this is Soulful Sunday, the Sunday that we give our attention toward nurturing, feeding, and nurturing our soul. And it occurred to me that many people may not really understand what that means or how to go about practically to actually nurture, nourish, and feed your soul. Embrace it. And so I thought today we would spend some time in this empowerment session talking about nurturing the soul. Again, this is going to be a really good conversation filled with a lot of information. So you want to make sure that you are taking notes or that you bookmark this particular live so that you can come back and watch it again and again and digest all the information that we're going to share with you this morning. I'm going over to the comments right now to make sure that they're turned on so that you can feel free to express your thoughts and give your input, as well as to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Okay? I want you to ask. Let's have a lively, robust conversation. Use the comment sections to be expressive and to tell me what's going on in your thoughts and your mind as we go through this particular teaching. Are you ready? Are you strapped in? Then let's get ready to go. So when we talk about nurturing the soul, I think that the best place for us to start this morning is by defining what the soul is and its parameters, and so that we can have a working definition to go from and an understanding from which to launch into a deeper conversation. The soul, and here is a very simple definition. The soul is the vehicle through and by which the spirit experiences and expresses itself. I'm going to repeat that again. The soul is the vehicle through and by which the spirit experiences and expresses itself. It is the conduit of our divinity, channeling and imparting its limitless power, its infinite wisdom, and its ubiquitous presence. Let me say that again. Okay? It is the conduit of our divinity, God in us, through us, and as us, by channeling its and interpreting its limitless power, its infinite wisdom and knowledge, and its ubiquitous presence. We know that the divine spirit that we are is all powerful or omnipotent. It is all knowing or omniscient, and it is in every place at all times. It is omnipresent. It is the reflection of the all of everything, or the reflection of God. We are God manifested in human form, or God in the flesh. So the soul then is the vehicle by which the divine spirit that we are is able to experience and express itself. We are divided into those three parts: the spirit, the true essence of who we are; the soul, the vehicle by which the spirit experiences and expresses itself; and then the body, the form in which the spirit operates, moves, and is able to tangibly experience this three-dimensional existence that we call Earth. It's the spirit being human. We are not a human having a spiritual experience. We are a spirit having a human experience, learning, exploring, and expressing itself through the vehicle, the middleman of the soul. it being the conduit that channels our divinity into experience and expression. I hope that that's clear and easy to understand. Okay? So it's the spirit expressing and experiencing itself through the vehicle of the soul, tangibly connecting with this three-dimensional world through the body. It's pretty simple. Makes sense, right? Let's go a little bit further. The importance of nurturing the soul. Because the soul is the vehicle through which the spirit experiences and expresses itself, it has interior senses, just as all of us have our 5 exterior senses like sight, hearing, touch, taste, smell. We have also 7 interior senses that are innate to the soul. They are the will, imagination, perception, reasoning, intuition, memory, and empathy. I'll repeat them again for those of you who are taking notes and writing this down. The soul's interior 7 senses are will, imagination, perception, reasoning, intuition, memory, and empathy. Can I pause for a second for a commercial break? I write extensively about these interior senses and how to engage them in this book called Inner Sense. I encourage you to get a copy of this book today. It's available on Amazon for either the paperback or the downloadable digital edition. You should go to Amazon right now and order your copy today. I talk extensively and in detail about these 7 interior senses and how to activate them, access them, and use them every day in your practical life. So I invite you to go to Amazon and get your copy today. All right, back to our conversation. Finally, nurturing the soul means getting in touch with your feelings. Contrary to popular belief, feelings are not some, disposable thing that just changes and shifts with the wind. Those are usually what's been confused with feelings. Emotions. Emotions change with the winds. Emotions sometimes reflect what we're feeling. But our feelings are the language of the soul. Let me say that again. That's profound and powerful. Feeling are the language of the soul. They are how the spirit communicates from our subconscious mind into our conscious awareness. Let me repeat that. Feelings are the way that the spirit communicates from our subconscious mind into our conscious mind. Now, I know already some of you are scratching your head, but why not just use words? Words are the lowest form of communication because when you think about it, words are just a way to try and articulate what you are feeling and thinking. That's all. Words are just paint on a paintbrush, trying to create a portrait of what it is that you are feeling and thinking or imagining. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So feelings are a higher form of communication. Like, have you ever walked into a situation or met a person and you couldn't come up with words to describe it, but you had a certain sense about that thing or that person that either drew you into it or repelled you from it, that made you feel a little bit shy or drawn back or gave you what we call a check, or that you felt inviting and warm, engaging about it or them, and you were drawn to them. And you don't have the words to articulate the why or to give clarity, but it's that intuitive feeling or vibration that draws you or repels you from it. That is the language of the soul. That is the intuitive knowing of the spirit, of the soul, that is being communicated from the spirit out of our subconscious mind, bringing it to our conscious awareness. The spirit speaks a language that can only be interpreted by the soul. Ooh, you should write that one down in your notes as well. Let me say that again. That the spirit, the divine, the all of everything, that God part of us, speaks a language that can only be interpreted by the soul. And the soul communicates from the subconscious to our conscious awareness, making us aware of what the spirit is trying to communicate. He that hath an ear, soul, to hear, let him hear what the spirit is saying to the church. Not a building or a temple, but us, to the soulful community, the calling together, the ecclesia, the called out. He that hath an ear, soul, to hear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. So the soul, being the seat of our will, imagination, perception, reasoning, intuition, memory, and empathy, is also where our feelings began to communicate, which is the language of the soul, to communicate to our conscious awareness. Everybody following along? You getting it? I hope so. If you don't, then please don't hesitate to put your questions or comments in the comment section. I want to address them, and I want to make sure everyone walks away with a clear understanding. So I'll move on. What is the nature of the soul? The nature of the soul is limitlessness and timelessness. Limitlessness and timelessness. Let's unpack those two things. When we talk about the limitlessness or the limitless capacity of the soul, we are speaking from the understanding that the soul is the vehicle through which the spirit experiences and expresses itself in this three-dimensional world. The soul is the conscious awareness of the spirit becoming consciously aware of itself as being. Are you understanding what I just said? The soul is the conscious awareness, or the spirit becoming consciously aware of itself as being. It is when the soul is awakened that the spirit now becomes consciously aware of itself as being or existing in this three-dimensional form. From the Genesis narrative, it says God formed mankind from the dust of the earth. That's the body. And then God breathed into the nostrils of the form, the breath of life, and mankind became a living soul. Not a living spirit, because the spirit was always living, but it became a living, and the word living there means conscious or aware soul. The word in the Hebrew is nephesh. In the Greek, it's stuke, from which we get the word psyche. Nephesh meaning an aware consciousness. So mankind becomes a living or conscious soul. Are you hearing me? A psyche, able to comprehend, to see, experience, and express itself through the human form into which it was breathed. The narrative, of course, is an allegory to give us a portrait and a picture of how the spirit, soul, and body interconnect and intertwine in order for us to experience. Now, because then the soul is the living, breathing, conscious awareness that enables the divine in us to experience and express itself. And because the divine is God, and God is the all of everything, that is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, then by virtue of that, the soul has to have limitless capacity. How else can you contain and even begin to express the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresence of the divine, of the all of everything, of the Spirit of God in us, unless the container or the conduit or vehicle that is used to express it has limitless capacity, has the capacity to be able to encompass and embrace and express the infinity of the power, presence, and knowledge of God. So the soul has limitless capacity. Now, you may be only consciously aware of a finite part of its capacity. Most people are, but it is through the vehicles or the practices that I'm going to give you later that we're able to access that infinite capacity and begin to explore the vast landscape of the soul and delve into the depths of the knowledge, insight, wisdom, revelation, the presence that is made available through the soul of the Spirit. Are you understanding what I'm saying to you? So the soul's limitless capacity makes available to us access into the infinite power and presence and knowledge of the Spirit. I want you to see the interconnectedness and the synergy that is made possible or the synergy of the spirit, soul, and body, how they flow continuously together so that we can have this lived experience. So the infinite power, presence, and knowledge of spirit is contained in the limitless capacity of the soul, giving us access so that we can know even as we are known. I have a saying that that is based in fact, but seems a little bit paradoxical, that I drew from a great theologian
historical theologian Tillich. The man that knows God does not outgrow God, but God causes him to outgrow his limited and immature views of God. Thus, God remains God while changing in the mind of the growing person. In other words, that there is an infinite power, knowledge, and presence of God that resides in each and every one of us. And as we began to explore the vast landscape of the soul, it gives us access into that infinite power, presence, and knowledge, thereby shifting our perceptions and perspective on God, seemingly as though God is becoming something different, but God really isn't. It's our understanding, view, and perception of God that is expanding, growing, and becoming more enlightened, causing us then to be transformed by the renewing of our conscious mind, moving us from one state of being to another, or what the Bible calls going from glory to glory and faith to faith, elevating us, lifting us, expanding us, causing us to access more power, more presence, and more knowledge. Learning is really just your being reminded of what you already know. It is when those of us who are teachers, mentors, say and do things that trigger the knowledge that is already loaded and coded within your DNA to be reassembled, remembered, reassembled, and reconfigured in your conscious awareness. That's the limitless capacity of the soul. Now, by virtue of that and necessity of that, then the second aspect of the nature of the soul is made visible, which is the soul's timelessness. The timelessness of the soul. Can we go back to the Genesis narrative? Let's go back and refer to it. The soul, based upon the Genesis narrative and every narrative in every spiritual text across religious views and ideologies, the soul is the creation of God. The soul is the creation of God. And God breathed out of itself into the nostrils of the form, and man became, that's a creation term, man became a living, conscious, aware, nefesh, suke, soul, psyche, conscious mind. So the soul is the creation of God. Now, if we follow the Genesis narrative to its logical conclusion, understanding that it is an allegory, painting a portrait of creation and helping us to better understand our existence in this three-dimensional world, then what we find in the narrative is that there is only one breath. We never find in the biblical text or in any other sacred text, whether it is the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of Tao, the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead, or any other sacred text, the Kabbalah, you never see the mention of God breathing more than once. One breath into one being, And then from that being comes all of humanity. And that breath takes place when God begins the beginning. I want you to catch what I just said. And that singular breath takes place when God begins the beginning. The beginning of the breath, the beginning of the creation of soul begins when God begins the beginning in the Genesis narrative and every other spiritual text. That the all of everything, knowing that it was all that it was, wanting to experientially know and experience itself, then took itself and individualized itself, breathing all of itself into a three-dimensional form, causing it to become or creating a living, consciously aware soul, singular soul in one form. And then from that form, the individuation of that soul and spirit is multiplied, fruitful in multiplication, across the entire expanse of the global time and space. All of humanity from one singular breath, meaning that we are one soul, individualized in various forms, all giving expression and experience to the divine spirit that exists in all of humanity. So then, if that is the case, and it is, then the soul is not only has limitless capacity, but it is also timeless. It began when God began the beginning and continues to exist across time and space and eternity up until now. It was, it is, and it is what is to come. It is eternal. It has and does and will exist forever. There are countless narratives in the Bible, as well as in the Quran and the Bhagavad Gita and all spiritual texts that speak in unison and in agreement with this understanding and truth. We've termed it reincarnation. That is when the soul reanimates itself in human form. Now, I know for some of my Christian watchers right now, you're already shaking in your boots and going, wait a minute, no, the Bible don't talk nothing about no reincarnation. Yes, it absolutely does. I'll give you one example. It's found, I think it's in Matthew chapter 16. I think so. Matthew chapter 16, where Jesus approaches his disciples and he asks the question, who do men say that I am? And the disciples' first response is telling and revealing. They say, some say you are John the Baptist, who was already dead, had been beheaded. Some say that you are Elijah, who had been dead for centuries. They spoke about reincarnation in saying, you're John the Baptist, you are Elijah. And listen, the narrative goes on in Jesus's response to them. He never says, no, I couldn't be John the Baptist or Elijah. Those people are already dead. He never refutes their idea of the reincarnation of these earlier figures. He simply goes on to say, but now, who do you say that I am? Why would they even put forth the idea if they did not understand that the reanimation of the soul was possible and even necessary because of the timelessness of the soul? This singular soul that was breathed into the singular form, individualized into the multiplicity of forms that have existed and continue to exist across the multiverse, is a timeless entity having experienced itself as being in different forms throughout the multiverse and throughout time and space. It is eternal. We even see in the Bible where it talks about the eternalness of the soul. Whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die, he says. Or God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. The eternalness of the soul is a foregone conclusion across every spiritual spectrum and every religious tradition. So it has by necessity infinite capacity to house the infinite knowledge, presence, and power of the Spirit, and it is a timeless entity by necessity in order to facilitate the experience of the Spirit throughout time and space. Are y'all following? Am I moving too fast? And if I am, y'all say something. I'm watching the comments because I want to make sure that everyone understands everything that I'm saying. Okay, right, Theresa. Theresa says, this is why we're all connected. Yes, that there's really no separation between us. The division that we are experiencing in the global community is man-made and imagined. The truth is, we are all intertwined and interconnected, and what affects one affects us all. We are all one global human community, connected and interconnected with each other. That's a very good observation. Very good observation. Okay? So let's keep moving. Ooh, I'm running out of time. I got about 16 minutes left, so let me move quickly. So let's move then to the practices of nurturing this important, precious vehicle that is our soul. I want to give you several ways that you can nurture your soul. So if you're taking notes, you can begin to write them down. I'm going to unpack them as I go, but I'll try and do it as quickly and concisely as I possibly can. And if you need me to repeat any of them, then don't hesitate to ask. And if you want further exposition of those things that I'm going to mention, then I encourage you to become a partner with the Emerge movement, because in the Emerge Partner Portal, we have a session every week called Diving Deep. It's in that session that we go into greater detail about some of the concepts that we're going to be discussing in just a few moments here in this conversation. Diving Deep is a partners only empowerment session. You have to be a partner in order to be able to be a part of this conversation and have access to in-depth knowledge, insight, and conversations centered around these kinds of conversations that we're having right now and the principles that I'm going to expose you to. So I invite you to become a partner with the Emerge movement. Consider that today. So let's get to the practical ways that you can nurture the soul. There are several. Write these down. Number one, through meditation and mindfulness. Meditation is one of the greatest tools that you can ever access to begin to investigate and explore the vast landscape and the depths of your soul. You do it through either guided meditation, mindful meditation, transcendental meditation. And if you again want to know more about what those meditations entail, I invite you to become a partner because it's all in the partner portal. Second way of nurturing your soul is through nature and solitude. Reconnecting with nature and with the universe, because everything emanates or has its genesis out of God. Then since we come out of God and all of nature comes out of God and all of the universe comes out of God, it follows and makes logical sense that we are not only interconnected with every other soul, one soul from the one individual form, individualized into these different forms, but that we are also one with the entire universe, all of the planets, the stars, the universes, the galaxies, the constellations, and we are connected with all of nature. That is plant life, animal life, the air, the sun, the wind, the fire, the water. We are connected to it all. That's why all of it vibrationally has an effect on us. The discussions around things like climate change are just an expression of our interconnectedness with all of nature. Our connection, the reason that so many people feel such a deep connection to their pets and other animal life is because there is a real spiritual connection between humanity and all of nature. And so when we reconnect with nature by walks on the beach, putting our feet in water, walking through nature, touching and holding and handling nature like trees and flowers and smelling their fragrances, playing with your pets or other animals, visiting the forest and communing with all of the insects and like butterflies, caterpillars, and other things of this sort. All of it causes a reaction within your soul because you are intimately tied to all of it. So for those religious-minded people who are constrained by the dogma and legalism of their particular religious ideology, you then will label things like the constellations or zodiac or crystals and other things like that as demonic, and sages and herbs are all demonic. That is a lie straight out of hell, that non-existent place. But you understand the hellscape of somebody's mind, because all of those things are a way of communicating, connecting, and channeling our energy with our connection with all of nature. Everything emanates out of God. Did something else create sage and crystals? Did something else create the constellations? Who put the constellations in the sky? Who causes the Earth's movements and rotations to take place along with all of the planets in the solar system? And why does science and biology show that there is an intrinsic connection between our human emotions, feelings, and our operation with the constellations, with the tides, and all of nature? No one can deny that those things all have an effect on us as humans. So by reconnecting with nature and the universe, we nurture and nourish the soul. Also through times of solitude. What do I mean by solitude? It is giving yourself or reserving time for you to just sit in quietness and in stillness, in contemplation, and to giving yourself the opportunity to make inquiries of your soul, to ask yourself questions like, what new thought or idea or concept is trying to emerge and surface within me? What am I presently being, and who am I becoming? What must I become in order to accommodate this new thought, understanding, revelation that is emerging within me? Or what must I do to facilitate further growth for my soul? Or what must I release and let go to facilitate my expansion and my evolution? Those are some of the questions that you want to ask your soul in a time of stillness and quietness, and listen carefully for the still small voice of the Spirit speaking through the soul from within. Not this booming James Earl Jones voice coming from the outside. Hey, this is God. I'm Morgan Freeman. But it is the voice that sounds like your own, speaking from within, resonating and emerging and illuminating your conscious mind. Another way of nurturing the soul is creativity and expression. Artistic endeavors are a good way of nurturing and nourishing the soul. Participating in artistic expressions such as music, like singing, praise, worship, all of these things are ways of expressing yourself artistically, or through dance or painting or acting, or some other type of artistic expression that allows the soul to liberate itself and freely express itself, being and becoming all that it desires, creating space for its expansion, to employ its interior senses of imagination and will and empathy, its interior senses of intuition and perception. Another way of nurturing and nourishing the soul is through relationships and community. Building meaningful connections with other like-minded individuals. Finding your soul mates, your soul tribes, and your twin flames. And there is a difference between all of those things. And if you want to know the difference, come on over to the Emerge movement. Become a partner today so you can come into the portal and get that in-depth teaching and understanding. Because there is a vast difference between a soulmate, a soul tribe, and a twin flame. Knowing who your soul family is, creating those soul connections, building a community. And that's what Emerge is. It's a community of souls that have connected behind the specific purpose of growing and evolving and becoming. So through building those communities, understanding the interconnectedness of all souls. Another way is through acts of service, by doing things like volunteering or just simply from their various occasions from time to time helping others. It is the act of giving and generosity that is a reflection of the very essence of God or the divine spirit that we are. God is, and therefore by extension, we are love. And the greatest expression of love is generosity, or what the Bible calls charity. It says that if you even speak with the tongues of men and angels, and you don't have an expression of charity or love, then you're like a sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal, empty, hollow, meaning nothing. Because the greatest expression of the all of everything of God is love, and the greatest expression of love is generosity. Another way of nurturing, well, before I leave that, I just thought of another scripture that says, it is better to give than to receive. Why? Because when you are giving, you are expressing the essence of love, which is the essence of spirit. And when you do so, you are nurturing your soul, expanding its reach and making it more pliable to absorb the eternal, infinite presence, power, and knowledge of the divine spirit. So it is better to give, more blessed, it says, to give than to receive, because it nurtures your soul. Another way of nurturing and feeding your soul is through continuous learning and growth. Spiritual and secular education is key to nurturing your soul. Studying sacred texts and philosophies, as well as academic studies in general, as well as general readings of materials like novels and biographies and historical narratives. All of this allows the soul to expand and express itself in a more robust way. The more information you feed into the soul, triggering its infinite knowledge that is already locked within it, you unlock the soul to expand and soar to new heights. So feed it with information. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay? If you don't feed your soul with knowledge, it will rot with mediocrity. I'll say that again. If you don't feed your soul with knowledge, it will rot with mediocrity. Another way of nurturing the soul is through personal reflection, and self-improvement. Taking the time to personally go inward and reflect on who you are, your varying experiences that you've had throughout your life, throughout the year, throughout the month, throughout the week, and throughout the day. Journaling is an absolutely wonderful tool of reflection. There's a mystical, magical power in journaling. When you begin to write, you memorialize those experiences. And so begin to journal about and give expression to what you have been experiencing as you reflect upon who you are and who you are becoming. That introspection, that searching, that insight into self, that self-actualization is a necessary part of nurturing and nourishing your soul. Finally, the last practical way that you can nurture and nourish your soul is by embracing the soul's journey. What do I mean by that? I mean by practicing the law of detachment and becoming more accepting and surrendering to the natural flow and rhythm of life. Life is filled with swift transitions. Life is filled with twists and turns and ebbs and flows. And when you are resistant to those things, it creates frustration, aggravation, anger, confusion, and bewilderment. But when you have a healthy detachment, a removal of your personal preferences, and just surrender to the eternal, preordained, co-created plan that you and God created prior to your entrance into this three-dimensional existence, you relax and find the place of rest and allow the soul the freedom and liberty to experience all that is taking place and to glean from it those triggers that ignite the knowledge of itself across the multiverse, throughout space and time, in every dimension. Now, you might be saying, how in the world do I do that? And what is the law of detachment? And what do you mean a determined, preordained, co-created plan for my life? Well, we discuss those kind of things in depth in the Partner Portal. So again, I invite you to become a partner with the Emerge movement because partnership has its privilege. And one of those privileges is when you are able to participate in Diving Deep every Wednesday at 8 p.m. only in the Partner Portal. Okay, so as we conclude our empowerment session for this morning, I know you've been enlightened and empowered by what you've heard, but I want to conclude by just doing some affirmations and meditation. So I'm going to ask you as we get ready to conclude to move to a very comfortable space. If you're driving, pull over for just a few minutes. I promise it won't be more than 3 to 4 minutes. And get comfortable because you're going to need to close your eyes. And we're going to do a brief meditation and some affirmations that encompass nurturing the soul and will facilitate your ability to begin this process of nurturing. Okay? So go ahead, get comfortable, seated, standing, laying down, however is good for you, and close your eyes. Try and quiet your thoughts and your mind. And prepare to repeat these affirmations after me. Let's begin by taking a deep breath in and holding it at its apex until I say release. Are you ready? Deep breath in. And release. That sensation you feel is your soul awakening, igniting, ready to receive, ready to explore. Deep breath in. Release. Now say, I give my soul permission to explore the vast dimensions of the multiverse. I give my soul permission to embrace new experiences with an open heart. My soul is free to expand and grow across the boundaries of time and space. I trust in the infinite knowing and wisdom of my spirit expressed through my soul as it journeys through different dimensions and realities. My soul is empowered to experience the fullness of existence across all planes of reality. I honor my soul's desire to explore and expand beyond the physical realm, discovering the wonders of the multiverse. I am open to the limitless possibilities that arise from my soul's exploration and the diverse dimensions and times made available to me. My soul's journey through the multiverse is a source of profound growth and enlightenment. I embrace the adventures of my soul's embarks upon, knowing that each experience enhances my understanding and experience. My soul's travels across dimensional lines bring clarity, insight, and deeper connections with the all of everything. I celebrate my soul's freedom to explore, expand, and experience all that the multiverse has to offer. And I embrace the adventures my soul embarks on, knowing that each experience enhances my understanding of existence. Deep, extended breath. And release. And I prophesy that you will enter portals, gates, doors, and chambers that allow you to experience vivid expressions of the spirit across time, space, dimensions, throughout the multiverse, throughout eternity. That all that has been, is, and shall be will flood through your conscious awareness, igniting every part of your being and empowering you to experience radical transformation. And it is so. And so it is. Amen. Whew. Open your eyes. Embrace that feeling. Wrap your arms around yourself. Feel the essence of spirit radiating and permeating your very being. What a wonderful, wonderful empowerment session this has been. And I want to thank you again for joining me today and participating in this session. Again, if you were empowered and blessed by what you received today, I invite you to consider becoming a partner with the Emerge movement, where you can experience this at a greater and much deeper level and be a part of a soul community that fosters growth and evolution. Now I'm going to ask those of you who are still here and remain and have been blessed, as I know you have, by what you've heard, to consider contributing to this platform in a monetary way. You can use any of the apps that you see on your screen right now, and you can contribute in whatever denomination that you choose. We're not giving you a certain amount, but I encourage you and implore you to give a gift that reflects the value that you have gained from being a part of this empowerment session. You can use our CashApp, Zelle, PayPal, or Venmo. With CashApp, it's emergelec, $emergelec. Our Zelle is emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Our PayPal is paypal.me/emergelec. And finally, our Venmo is at emergelec. We greatly appreciate your gifts and your generosity. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I appreciate you right now. And I want to encourage you to have the very best day that you can have. Nourish your soul, and enjoy this soulful Sunday.
Some of you are even afraid to dream, afraid to imagine. But I'm here to tell you that you are an infinite, limitless, boundless being. Are you willing to do what is necessary to have what you desire?
You've been listening to Apostle Isaac Miles, the disruptive innovator, a mentor, an author, a motivational speaker, an entrepreneur, and the founder and spiritual director at emergelec Life Enrichment Center. Please take a minute to subscribe, like, and share this page. If you'd like to become a partner, you can do so by emailing us at emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Again, that's emerge.lifecenter@gmail.com. Once again, thank you for watching.